The disappearance and murder of Annie Tahan. In 1989, the city of Charleston, South Carolina, became the setting for a haunting case of deception and murder when 24-year-old Annie Tahan vanished without a trace. Her disappearance would remain unsolved for 4 years, leaving her loved ones searching for answers and justice. Hi everyone, welcome to the True Crime Record. Subscribe now to stay updated with our latest crime stories. Get ready to be hooked, shocked and captivated by the mysteries that await you here. Annie Tahan, born May 1, 1965, embraced life with infectious enthusiasm. Growing up under her mother's care, she developed a passionate dream of building a large family. By age 18, she had begun this journey, giving birth to her first son, Jimmy, followed shortly by Sean, and then her daughter, Shane. However, her path to happiness faced an early setback when the children's father abandoned the family, leaving Annie to navigate single parenthood while managing a household in Maine. In 1987, fate introduced a new chapter into Annie's life when she met Michael Palin, a 32-year-old Navy petty officer serving on the aircraft carrier Bramby. Their encounter in Portland, Maine, where Michael's ship was docked, sparked a whirlwind romance. Michael, a decorated computer systems operator based in Charleston, South Carolina, seemed to represent everything Annie sought in a partner. Their relationship progressed rapidly. After a few months, Michael and Annie decided to create a family unit. They moved in an apartment, and Annie started living a happy life with Michael and her 2 sons and a daughter. But tragedy struck when a suspicious fire engulfed their shared apartment. While Michael managed to escape with Jimmy and Sean, Annie's youngest child, Shane, unable to walk, perished in the blaze. Though investigators found the circumstances suspicious, they couldn't definitively determine the cause. The devastating loss created an irreparable void in Annie's heart. Following this tragedy, Annie and her surviving children moved to her mother's home in Portland, while Michael returned to his barracks. Another suspicious fire occurred near Annie's mother's house, with investigators discovering a lighter bearing the name Bramby, Michael's ship. Despite this evidence, authorities couldn't conclusively prove his involvement. The string of unfortunate events led child welfare authorities to remove Jimmy and Sean from Annie's custody, placing them in foster care. Despite her desperate attempts to regain custody, Annie faced continuous setbacks, deepening her emotional distress. When Michael's ship returned to Charleston, he and Annie reunited, settling in Goose Creek. Their relationship took another turn when Annie discovered a photograph revealing Michael's marriage to Dawn Breeze, with whom he had 3 children living in Savannah, Georgia. Though Michael claimed to be divorced, the revelation shook Annie's trust. Despite growing tensions and Michael's increasingly hostile behavior, Annie stayed when she discovered her pregnancy. In October 1989, she gave birth to their daughter, Jade. Though the joy of motherhood briefly lifted her spirits, Michael's treatment continued to deteriorate. He began controlling Annie's movements, disconnecting the phone and taking it with him to work. 2 days before her disappearance, Annie made a desperate call to her friend Katie French, revealing her plans to leave Michael and his threatening response that she would never see Jade again. Katie sent money for a bus ticket, hoping Annie could escape to Portland. This would be their final conversation. On November 7, 1989, Katie's attempts to reach Annie went unanswered. Michael later informed her that Annie had left voluntarily on November 6th, taking her belongings but leaving Jade behind. When Katie discovered Jade was living with Michael's mother, her worst fears intensified. She knew Annie would never willingly abandon her child. The investigation into Annie's disappearance remained stagnant until 1993, when the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, NCIS, took over the case. Their thorough investigation led to a shocking discovery: an unidentified body found beside a highway in Jasper County, South Carolina, approximately 100 miles from Annie's residence. The victim's face had been brutally crushed, her skull shattered into 124 pieces, and her body burned in a naval bag soaked in gasoline. Dental records confirmed the victim was Annie Tahan. On the day Annie vanished, investigators found that Michael made a credit card purchase about 25 miles south of where the body of Annie was found. When his phone record was checked, they discovered that on November 6th, he made 2 calls to his mother's house. The first call was at 4:35 a.m. and the second one at 5:17 a.m. With this evidence, detectives suspected that Michael may have killed Annie in their apartment, then moved her body to roadside. The breakthrough in solving Annie's murder came through Michael's ex-wife, Dawn Breeze. In 1995, Dawn revealed to NCIS agents that Michael had summoned her to his apartment on the night of November 5th to 6th, 1989. There, she discovered Annie's lifeless body. Michael had brutally murdered Annie with a crowbar while she slept, their infant daughter Jade lying beside her. He then placed Annie's body in a naval bag, drove 100 miles with Dawn and Jade in the car, and set the body ablaze. Evidence mounted against Michael: credit card transactions near the dump site, suspicious phone calls to his mother's house, and blood found in his apartment. The final piece of evidence came from a television set Michael had sold to a neighbor. Forensic analysis revealed 11 blood spots inside the speaker, matching Annie's DNA. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Michael Palin pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty. He received a life sentence with possibility of parole after 30 years and a dishonorable discharge from the Navy. Dawn Breeze, despite her 6-year silence, avoided prosecution due to her crucial cooperation with investigators. Annie's children eventually learned the truth about their mother's fate, understanding she hadn't abandoned them. Jade, raised within the Palin family, grew up to completely distance herself from her father. In an unexpected development, Michael Palin was released in 2013 after serving only 17 years. His current whereabouts unknown. Annie Tahan's story serves as a tragic reminder of domestic violence's devastating impact and the importance of listening to victims' cries for help. Her case also demonstrates the persistence required in pursuing justice, even when the truth seems buried beyond reach.